Welcome to the American Grown Podcast, hosted by Austin Sullivan. The American Grown Podcast will focus on people from different walks of life and their journey to where they are now. Now, turn up your volume and settle in for a great episode.
Hi, I'm Austin Sullivan, and I'm your host for the American Grown Podcast, recorded inside the Colortech Creative Solutions studios. Today, we have Bridgett Finn from Coaching by Bridgett. She is a certified personal trainer and a certified strength and conditioning specialist. Bridgett, welcome to episode 4 of the American Grown Podcast.
Thanks, I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. In today's episode, we're going to pump you up.
Heck yeah, I love the energy from the start.
Yeah, so Bridgett, take us through the average day of a certified personal trainer.
Yeah, so it actually starts pretty early, 4:15, 4:30. I typically have a 5 a.m. client. Working through the morning with a couple of sessions of personal training. We have performance classes that I help to coach, and then I typically get a little break at lunchtime, typically like dead hours of personal training. And then it picks back up in the evening a little bit. So, kids get out of school, parents are done work, so training again in the evening, and then normally try to wrap up by 7 p.m. at the latest. Sometimes it's 8 p.m., but gotta get a good amount of sleep when you're waking up at 4:15 every day.
Yeah, seriously. Take us back. So your average day, long hours, getting up early, putting the time in, working with a lot of adults or more high school athletes?
So about half my clients right now are high school athletes. So the strength and conditioning piece is mainly athletes age 13 to 21, even 22 right now. And then about the other half is like their parents' age. So a lot of mid-30s all the way up to 60s. So it ranges a lot.
Okay, very cool. You are native to Lebanon, PA?
I am. Yep. Born and raised. Always been in Lebanon. Even after college, or even during college, I stayed in Lebanon. I went to Lebanon Valley College. So I love my community. I love being a part of it and want to stay connected to the community this way.
Yeah, and how you and I first met. So part of Colortech Creative Solutions is Blue Cardinal Photography. So we would go out to Cedar Crest and other local high schools in Lebanon County and take the sports and action photos. And that's when I first met you because you played soccer.
Yep.
At Cedar Crest.
Mm-hmm. We always recognize you as a photography guy or like team sports. We know who we're seeing today for our team sport photos.
Exactly. Yeah. So growing up and going through, you played soccer. I can't remember what.
Track, yep.
Track, yeah, you're track and field.
Yeah.
Under Coach Bear.
Yep.
Oh, fabulous.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, he's a great guy. And for our listeners out there, he was episode 1. He was the first guest to take a chance and come on this podcast. And if you haven't heard it, definitely recommend it. So what was that like growing up in high school, being, playing 2 sports and then also, having schooling on top of that?
Yeah, so I actually also played softball growing up. So
3 sports.
Yeah, honestly, softball was probably my favorite sport of them all, and it was my main sport until about middle school level. I started getting a lot of close friends on the soccer team, and I kind of phased out of softball. I was probably a little bit better of a softball player, weaker soccer player, but I was always ready to improve and grow. So I was always very, very busy, even from a young age. My mom says I never stopped moving.
Yeah. So
I have 2 siblings, and we were always going to the next event, whether it was a sporting event, orchestra band for my sister and brother, but very, very busy and never sat down. And then all throughout high school too, I had those 2 sports. I wake up early now, but I definitely didn't then. I was a fan of sleeping in.
Yeah.
Some soccer games were Sunday nights at like 9 and 10 p.m. It was a grind. Rested when I could, definitely, but I was always very active. Didn't play or run track until junior year in high school, and then unfortunately got hurt senior year soccer season with an injury, so I didn't have a full track and field season that spring because I was recovering. But the time that I did run track, I loved it.
What was the injury again?
I tore a ligament in my foot senior year soccer season. Painful. So thankfully it wasn't torn all the way and I didn't need surgery, so I could just let it rest.
Yeah. Okay.
But that was something I had to overcome and go through.
You said 2 siblings. Are you competitive with them? Are they competitive with you? Like, who's the better,
So my sister and brother are 4 and 5 years older than me, so they're only a year apart. So the age gap didn't allow us to be super competitive. Because they were always, a little bigger and stronger.
They had the advantage.
They were. But I was actually the only one that continued playing sports after middle school. So I guess I had the more athletic genes in the family.
There you go.
I definitely stuck with it.
Don't let them know that. Hopefully they won't listen to the episode.
I know. I hope not.
Yeah. So during high school, you have your coaches. Did you have any specific mentors or friends that maybe helped you during a tough game?
Absolutely. I would say high school, definitely a lot of my coaches. So my soccer coach, Coach Brubaker, Coach Bear for sure. So it's awesome that he was on here too. If you listen to that, you'll see how encouraging and motivating he is. And he's like that every day. It wasn't just for the podcast. He definitely helped me along the way. My mom is a huge mentor, and she's one of my best friends and very close. And she's always pushed me and encouraged me to be who I am and be that well. And that's something I try to live by. She's really pushed me to do that.
It definitely helps when the family unit is supportive, especially high school athletes and then going into college, and to have that backing and that strong support and that strong foundation, goes a long way. So after high school, college, right? Lebanon Valley College?
Yep.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I actually started at DeSales University for one semester.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, I kind of want to move out of Lebanon a little bit. And I thought that, and like I said, I'm a native. I love my community. So it lasted a semester, and then I ended up transferring to Lebanon Valley. It's funny, in sixth grade, I told myself, I'm going to go to Lebanon Valley College and play soccer and major in physical therapy. And I just knew I wanted to be a part of athletics and strengthening the physical body in some way from a young age. My path was a little bit different. So I did go to DeSales with a physical therapy track. Then I transferred to Lebanon Valley with an athletic training master's focus in mind. So I was in that master's degree program and played soccer at DeSales, and then also was able to play soccer at Lebanon Valley. So it worked out really, really well. With that athletic training, I knew I wanted to be involved more in the athletic field rather than the broad physical therapy. So that I refined my career path that way. And then throughout college, I had a lot of mentors that really supported me and helped me to guide where I was meant to be. And one of them was my head strength and conditioning coach at Lebanon Valley.
Okay.
So throughout that athletic training program, I was like, I love working with athletes and I love improving performance in a sport. That was something I was really passionate about. However, I was looking at more of the performance side of it, sport performance rather than sport rehabilitation. So my strength and conditioning coach in college guided me, and he was someone I really looked up to, and I loved going to team lifts, and I was like, that's what I want to do. Yeah. I want to get my strength and conditioning.
Do you remember his name?
Coach Hatz, yep.
Coach
Jared
Hatz.
Hatz. He's currently, he took a job at St. Lawrence University just to work with the men's and women's ice hockey teams up in New York.
Wow. Phenomenal. Yeah. Wow. Good for him. Yeah. That's awesome. As you're playing college level sports, that's a whole nother level. Friendships were probably made, but was there a particular game that you were like, man, this is really tough? Like just mentally you were drained, and how did you overcome, that mental block?
Yeah, that's a good question. I can definitely say, unfortunately, my college coach wasn't the best mentor for me. So I didn't have that relationship in college necessarily. Yeah. High school, I did have that. But in college, I had a lot of close friends on my soccer team that I lived with, had classes with, and obviously had soccer with every single day. So got to know them really, really well. So I had a lot of close friends that we helped motivate each other, encourage each other. When you play college sport, it's tough. 6 days a week, especially at the Division III level, academics come first. Okay. So you have to find that balance of, this is really important to me, I'm really passionate about this, but it's not your number one priority. Yeah. So soccer to me was something I was so passionate about, still am, but it was my whole life in college, and I did put academics first, but I didn't drink a sip of alcohol in college until I turned 21 and was finished playing soccer. That's how passionate I was about just being the best player I could be for the team and always improving. Yeah. I really prioritized lifting, and I was one of the players on the team that held everyone else accountable, made sure they showed up to the speed and agility sessions and the team lifts, and made sure they were readily prepared for our games. It wasn't something I took very lightly.
You're passionate about sports and fitness, and not everyone is. So the fact that you could motivate even at that level, at a college level, because a lot of people, it's easy to be like, hey, it's Thursday, thirsty Thursdays, you go out for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you're hungover Sunday and stumble into class Monday. So to motivate a group, especially back in college, like I was saying, you're definitely headed in the right direction.
Yeah. And it was tough too. And I will say you're put, in a hard position when you choose that. In my mind, you're choosing right over wrong, but it's also, I was the only one on my team that didn't drink. So it was kind of tough that I had to leave myself out of things, but I knew in my mind I was doing the right thing for the right reason all the time. And that's something I tried to live by. And now I'm training a lot of young high school girls, and I just try to motivate them and mentor them to make similar decisions.
You're leading by example, and that says a lot. Like you said, back then, it's easy to go with the crowd and just be like, oh yeah, let's go to the party. But just real quick, I'd gone to Kutztown for track, for throwing. I think I hinted at this in episode 2, maybe. It's been a little while, but I had a similar thing where I didn't drink. I'm not a partier. I didn't go to parties or anything like that. I actually lost like a ton of weight, got in the best shape of my life. This is back in 2012. Of course, now, getting back to work and everything like that, put some weight back on. But yeah, it's definitely tough because a lot of the older seniors or track people at Kutztown, they were great guys, but like to party, and it would be like, hey, come on, freshmen, come on out. And it's like, no, I'm good. I'm just going to sleep in my dorm, get to bed early, get up early and work out. So it can be a tough decision, but I think for any seniors out there, especially now that, just having graduation recently and heading off to college or the workforce even, sometimes it can be tough to make those decisions, but it can be worth it.
It is.
Yeah, the grind can be worth it for sure.
Yeah, one thing I learned is you definitely grow in adverse situations.
Oh, for sure.
Self-growth is huge.
Oh, exactly. And also taking risk, not being afraid to fail or maybe look foolish while other people are all together doing something and you're kind of off on your own, hustling and working hard and at something you're passionate about. Might seem silly at the time, but years down the road, it can turn into something fantastic for you. So who would you say got you into fitness, or was it just, yourself?
I've always had such a passion for exercise and fitness and playing sports. Like I said, my mom is the reason I was signed up, at a young age and encouraged to go to the practices, but I loved it. I just wanted to be out there on the field. Like I said, I was constantly active, wanted to be on my feet doing something. So after, elementary school, getting into middle school, I already mentioned that, I knew I wanted to be in a physical therapy, athletic training, something to that realm. Turned out to be exercise science, and coaching. But I knew that was a priority to me in my life. And I'm really passionate also about just connecting with people. We're all connected. We all have so many similarities, but I also love meeting different people, and you never know who you're going to work with when you're working with people. So that also helps you grow and just to learn how to connect with people of different mindsets and backgrounds. That's a passion to me, and I just kind of put it in the fitness realm.
You graduated from LVC?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So what was life like after that? A lot of people either kind of move back in with parents and save up money. Some get an apartment, some move out of state. So what was life like after college?
Yeah, like I said, I love my community. So I was thankful enough to be able to move back home, and I live with my parents currently still. So I graduated last May from Lebanon Valley College with a degree in exercise science, and I knew I didn't need my master's, but I saved up for it and knew it would put me off on the right foot to start my career. So my plan was to start my master's degree right away. So in June, I was enrolled through Liberty University's online master's in exercise science and wellness with a fitness and performance concentration. So I ended up doing that pretty quickly. I finished this past March in 9 months.
Wow.
With my master's.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
Thank
fantastic.
you.
Yeah. Or why or how did you finish so quickly? Just your self-motivation again?
Well, so I think it's a 1.5 track that they plan it out to be, maybe a year.
Yeah.
So it's 4 semesters. So
okay.
I started in the in the summer, last summer. And then I had the fall and spring. And the way that they do their terms are 8-week terms instead of 16, which is the traditional.
Yeah.
So I was able to double up with those 8-week terms. And a lot of programs have an unpaid internship for about 6 months, and I was not about I wasn't really in the interest of doing free work for 6 months. So I was thankful enough to find this program where that wasn't part of it, so I could still work part-time throughout the whole entire thing. I was working as a personal trainer in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So I had that. I was coaching high school soccer, and I was able to balance grad school as well. Wow. So it gave me the opportunity to get back into soccer a little bit and coach while I was going through it, but definitely, unfortunately, don't have time to coach soccer anymore with my career.
Well, it's definitely taken off from what you've said so far and what we're getting into now. Real quick, so who do you look up to, professional athlete-wise, male or female? It doesn't matter what sport. Is there any one or two in particular that you look up to, or maybe take pieces of their life and say, okay, I really like how they handle this or how they work out?
Absolutely. So there's 2 people that stick out to me right away. First one, soccer player Alex Morgan. I was a forward all my life. I was a defender for a little bit, but mainly a forward. So I loved watching her play. She was such a forceful goal scorer. And she was number 13, and I chose number 13 all growing up.
Yeah.
And high school I was 13, college I was 13, all because of her. But secondly, I would say Aaron Rodgers. I'm a huge Packers fan.
Nice, right? Okay, cheesehead.
Yep, I'm cheesehead.
Yeah.
Not from Wisconsin. It kind of got passed down the family line somehow.
Okay.
None of us were from Wisconsin, but anywho.
Interesting.
Aaron Rodgers, calm, cool, collected. I always look up to him. He's a great quarterback, but yeah, those two stick out to me most.
Definitely a handsome guy, and they're both
He
quite
is.
the athlete. So now college is done, moving back home, saving money, which I think for those listeners out there, if you don't know what you want to do after college, definitely if your parents are willing, it's a great opportunity staying at home, whether you're helping, working around the house, paying some of the bills, whatever it is, because that allows you to save up money, and then you can invest, in whatever it is, your own home in the future or your own business. So how did Coaching by Bridgett start, and who helped you?
That's a great
Come up with
question.
the idea, yeah.
Who helped me after just coming off of talking about living at home? So if I wasn't at home and didn't have the support from my parents and my boyfriend, it'd be really difficult. So they've really helped me motivate me and just give me the opportunity to be able to balance it all. Coaching by Bridgett is my personal business for personal training and strength and conditioning coaching that I started in March as soon as I finished grad school. So I knew I wanted to work full time as a strength and conditioning and personal trainer. I knew the only way to really do it and have the freedom and pick my own schedule and not have anybody to report to was to do it this way. So I'm really, really passionate about it. So I knew I was going to do it for a while. So I might as well start it right as I finished grad school. It started in March. I had my own personal training clients, a couple of them since November. So I had a little bit of a base to start with. And since then, I've grown almost 25 clients in the last 2.5, 3 months. So it's really taken off.
It definitely is. And you mentioned your boyfriend. Let's shout him out.
Absolutely. Alex, shout out to you.
Shout out
Very
to Alex.
thankful.
Thank you for being supportive.
Almost a year together.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, that's great. And is he also into fitness as much as you are?
Yeah, so he played football at Bucknell University. He's from the Reading area, went to Wilson High School.
Okay.
So, yeah, thankfully we both push each other and motivate each other.
That's awesome.
And have that.
That definitely helps when you have somebody that competes with you or, like you said, pushes you, motivates you. Because I'm sure some mornings, maybe not, but because you're such into fitness, but I know some mornings I get up and I'm like, oh, I don't want to go for a walk or I don't want to, especially in college, I was like, I don't really want to do this workout at 6 a.m, for 45 minutes or whatever it is. But when you have a partner pushing you, I think it's a win-win for sure.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Accountability is huge. And even on his off days, he's up and making me get up on my off days too and get into the gym or just do something. But we love doing that, working out together and hiking and spending time outside together. And we picked up pickleball recently.
Pickleball? That's getting pretty popular from what I hear.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
And pickleball is racket or no racket? I don't know the whole rules about it.
It's a racket.
Okay.
So it's like more of a paddle.
Yeah.
It kind of is like...
And like a small rubber ball or...
It's more of a wiffle ball, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you hit it off the wall.
No,
right?
I think you're thinking racket.
What am I? Okay. What's pickleball?
Racquetball? Pickleball is like a mini. It's like in between a ping pong and a tennis court. So you got a mini court.
Yeah.
You're outside. You can play in doubles. You can play singles. But yeah, you have a paddle and a wiffle ball. So it's basically the jumbo ping pong.
Learn something new. I wasn't even close, I don't think. So for all the listeners out there, the next two questions, I think, are questions that the listeners may have or might find interesting. What are some of the best workouts for weight loss and for health at the picnics or holidays? Might have ate a little too much or whatever it may be. Maybe had some of Sweet Sadie's cakes. She was on episode 3. What would you recommend some workouts that people can do, whether at home or whether they go out to a gym?
Yeah, great question. So the workouts that you enjoy are the ones that you are going to stick with and continue to do. If you don't enjoy it, you're not going to last very long. It's going to be inconsistent. Mm-hmm. So I will say, I am a strength and conditioning coach and personal trainer. I do a lot of functional strength movements with my clients. I'm a little biased. I really personally love doing them. But if you don't enjoy doing that, you're not going to want to stick with it.
Okay.
So everyone has different interests and they enjoy doing different movements and different exercises. So Other than that, I will say the big difference between, a cardio workout and a strength training workout is when you're in a cardio workout, whether it's biking, running, cycling, you are going to burn more calories in that workout itself rather than a strength training workout. However, throughout the day, you'll burn more calories during a strength training workout. So for a fat loss client, that's our main goal. The strength training, so weightlifting, functional strength movements, body weight exercises, is probably most beneficial. So I will say you'll have better results with that rather than currently or just strictly doing cardio every day.
You read my mind because I was going to bring up, I hear a lot, your own body weight, like doing your own push-ups, wall squats, crunches, things like that goes a long way.
Absolutely.
It really does. You don't have to have necessarily expensive weights or, the gym memberships, because a lot of times, and I'm guilty of it, I'll get the Planet Fitness or whatever gym membership it is, and then you pay all these months, but you go maybe a handful of times and then all of a sudden you forget because work and life and friends and family, come first for sure. That's something I would agree with. In the same line, what types of meals should people eat if they would like to lose weight or maybe add some muscle? Now, I think that's two different types of food groups, but I'll let you speak on that.
Yeah. So bottom line is you're only going to lose weight if you're eating in a calorie deficit. So like I said, doesn't matter what workout you're doing, you have to be burning more than you're intaking in order to burn the calories and to lose the weight. So it's recommended about a max of 500 calorie deficit per day. So 1 pound of fat equals about 3,500 calories. So if you were to burn an excess of 500 calories every day for a week, that's about a pound lost every week.
Yeah.
So kind of got to think about it a little bit and be aware of the calories that you're burning and eating. This is something that some people are really good at and like to track and like to know those numbers. And some people would like to do it more intuitively instead of tracking all the numbers. And I'm one of those people also. I don't really like to track everything all the time, but knowing what you're intaking and what you're burning is going to allow you to do that.
Are there any, and this might be like a curveball question, but are there any apps that you know of that you could recommend to track the calories or to track people's workouts?
Yeah, MyFitnessPal is probably the most common app to track food. It's a little difficult because, if you're cooking chicken with olive oil, you have to count that olive oil. You have to count the little things that you're adding in, how you're cooking the food.
Yeah.
So some people really like to just say, this is what I had, and miss out some of those details that
they're important though.
Play a big role. Yeah,
they play a big role. Is there a certain workout as you're working with your clients, especially now that you're growing and gaining new clients, all different skill levels, I'm sure, but is there any workouts in particular that really push you or your clients?
Yeah, so I always finish with some type of finisher, we call it, something to do some metabolic conditioning at the end of a workout, whether it's last 10 minutes, maybe last 15 minutes. For an athlete, it might be something to, get them prepared and train them for their specific sport. So, for example, I do have a lot of soccer players that they're working on change of direction and acceleration. So say we were doing sprints back and forth, changing direction, added in with some agility ladders. Those are definitely challenging. And then with personal training clients that aren't necessarily training for a sport, other finishers like getting their heart rate up with the fan bike, doing sandbag carries. Like I said, functional movements are huge. So when you're fatigued at the end of the workout and you have to do something hard like that for time, just trying to keep going and pushing yourself, that is probably the most difficult piece of the workout.
Yeah, just with, I'm just picturing the sandbag workouts, like throwing over your shoulder and doing walking lunges or something like that.
Man, yep.
Or even wall squats, kind of like flashbacks, working out at college and everything, because, that takes a toll on the body. Do you recommend anything to your clients, like maybe take a rest day during the week or like ice up or wear a knee brace or, because I imagine, like I said, you get all different age ranges of clientele. Some clients you probably cannot push every day. What are your recommendations on that?
I absolutely recommend rest. Rest is huge, especially when you're an athlete and you're used to going 5-6 days a week in season. You need rest on your off season. A lot of athletes are used to going from one sport to the next and not having enough rest in between and are injured. And we see a lot of overuse injuries with athletes because they're overtrained. And that's something I think a lot of coaches should be more aware of, all throughout youth sports and then up to the high school collegiate level. So rest is huge. And I would say mobility, stretching, icing. If you have a recovery gun, like a Theragun, those are getting pretty popular. But making sure you're doing something that you're going to stick with for your recovery and making it a habit.
So would you say stretching and stuff like that before and after? Because some people, I believe some coaches say not to stretch before, but rather after. Does it matter?
So the research shows that dynamic stretching is best before you're exercising, and then holding static stretches, which is a stretch, keeping that position, holding for more than 10 seconds after the workout, is more beneficial for performance. So the dynamic before would be more of like Frankenstein high kicks or butt kicks.
Okay.
Something to get your range of motion and really warming up that joint before you're exercising. So I wouldn't recommend going in cold and not stretching at all.
Yeah.
I do incorporate a lot of mobility drills in my workouts as well throughout the workout. So say we do an upper body exercise, a lower body exercise, and then maybe in your rest period there, we throw in a shoulder mobility exercise. So, it's not going to fatigue you. You're just kind of using it for your rest, but it will, be effective in that workout.
Now, because it seems to be getting popular, especially with social media and things like that, protein powders, protein shakes, things along those, protein bars even, which I know it's been around for quite some time, but it seems like the industry is really growing and adding more competition. Do you recommend that?
I do. So protein is key when you're losing weight, building muscle. Whenever you want to change your body composition, or tone, as a lot of people call it, which I believe the word toning is more of a marketing term, because toning is you just want to lose weight and gain, or lose the fat, gain the muscle. So strength training does exactly that. And just a side note, a lot of people will say, I don't want to get bulky. A lot of women especially, I don't want to get bulky. I don't want to look big. Well, your muscle fibers are genetic, and you're going to look pretty much how God made you to look. It's not too much about, you can't really control that, at a certain level. So whenever you are trying to lose fat and gain muscle, you have to be eating enough protein, which has amino acids that are going to build the muscle fibers.
Okay.
So if you're not getting enough protein with your diet, which you should try to get at least one protein source in every meal, supplementing with protein powder would be very beneficial. I personally take the Bear Performance Nutrition.
I was just going to ask you, what would you recommend? Okay,
Yep,
Bear
and that
Performance,
is Coach Bear's nephew, Nick
I thought
Bear.
so, yeah. I just recently found out that there was that connection, and I started following him on social media, and it's amazing to see what he's doing.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But continue, please.
Yeah, so I take protein powder supplements. I take a couple other reds, greens, electrolyte supplements, but protein is probably the most important when you are looking to lose the weight and build muscle.
And I don't want to cut you off, but reds and greens, I don't know what does that mean for the listeners? I have no clue.
So I
picture Christmas colors, red and green. But
yeah.
anyway, yeah.
Well, I mix them together and they're an ugly brown color.
Oh, okay.
The reds are a combination of different beetroot powder.
Okay.
It's strawberry flavor, so it has tons of nutrients and vitamins. The greens, again, it has turmeric, chlorella. There's a whole long list, spirulina, of different nutrients and minerals, vitamins that are also in the green. So if you eat a perfectly balanced diet, you don't really need those. There are days that I think I miss out just a little bit. I'm not perfect either with my diet, so it helps to supplement with those, and it also helps energy, your digestion. So it has a lot of benefits.
So I'm curious, when you say you mix them together and everything, does it taste good? Because I remember, this is high school when I was playing football. My father had some kind of, it was like supposed to be chocolate milk, a protein shake. And I'll tell you, it was disgusting. I mean, I'll eat pretty much anything and I'll give it a try at least, but I'm like, this is really gross. When you mentioned it has like a strawberry flavor or something like that, does it taste good or it's still not really?
So the reds are strawberry flavor, the greens are lemon flavor. The greens by himself, I have to say, I try to chug that. I don't like it. Yeah. However, when you mix them, it's kind of like a strawberry lemonade. So it doesn't look pretty, but it tastes a lot better.
It tastes better?
Yeah.
Gotcha. No, very cool. And so now, you have your clientele and everything. How did COVID, now to go back to 2020 just a little bit, how did COVID affect your life, your business, and are you still facing any issues? I know here at Colortech Creative Solutions, one of the issues we face being a printer, more so doing commercial printing, is paper. The print industry throughout the world is facing a lack of paper, with a lot of paper mills, either not producing or not having the workers to distribute the paper and things along those lines. So how did COVID affect you, and how is it still affecting you?
So I wouldn't say I was a huge victim of much from COVID. I was still finishing up college. I I did lose my senior year soccer season. So that was definitely the hardest part. Yeah, going into the senior year, and unfortunately had to miss out on that. However, it really jump-started my career. Because I lost my soccer season, I started my career, and I got my personal training certification in 2020. So I was able to start learning more about personal training. Throughout college, I did talk about my lifting with my team and strength and conditioning coach. That was my mentor. We lifted with like 60 people in the weight room with men's and women's soccer team and our field hockey team at the same time. So with only a couple of strength and conditioning coaches, I was a leader on the team and was put in the position to help coach the other players and start training that way, almost with my team, and start being able to coach each other. And I think that really helped me. But then obviously my personal training certification, getting that and jump-starting my career was a huge help for me.
With your 25-30 clientele that you have and you're continuing to build it and working out, you're sweating, people are working out in close quarters. Do you have to wipe equipment down, or are there any protocols that you are still doing?
We definitely clean the equipment after sessions, but nothing really, I don't think anything else that's really changed. So still just keeping everything clean, making sure everyone's healthy, obviously, when you're training is key.
Yeah, if somebody comes in, hacking, coughing, hey, you go home today, we'll get you in a week or so.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And now what do you think, deep down, what motivates you every day to work out and to coach? I mean, you're in great shape, and since I've known you've always been an athlete. What do you think motivates you to keep yourself in such great shape, but then also to coach, help your clients get into great shape?
I honestly don't really rely on motivation. I try not to anyways. So I love what I do, and I'm so passionate about helping people transform their bodies, and the quality of their life especially is going to be improved. And I just want to be the best part of my client's day, and they should leave my facility with more confidence and feel stronger than they were before. Yeah. So I try not to rely on that motivation. I try to always remember it's discipline, it's the drive, it's the passion for what I do, and it kind of comes natural to me, which is a gift that I was blessed to have.
No, for sure. And like I said, I can tell, very passionate. And maybe you might not rely on motivation, but just you're smiling during this podcast. For the listeners out there, big smile on your face, and maybe you're then the motivation for your clients. Obviously, by coaching them, but then just being around your personality, being so willing to motivate them and get them to be the best person they can be, the best shape they can be. So now for all of our listeners out there, how can they connect with you and follow along on your journey?
So I am on Instagram, Facebook, at Coaching by Bridgett, and my website is also coachingbybridgett.com. So I do post clips of my athletes and clients training on my Instagram page mainly. And I also shared some workouts and try to do some sneak peeks into my own life. But that's mainly where you could find me there.
Perfect. Yeah, I saw on your social media, I think it was Instagram, and I know Facebook has it, your logo. I really like your logo.
Thank you.
And how it incorporates first name, because it's a B with the kettlebell.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So before we close out, is there anything else you'd like the listeners to know?
Yeah. So a couple things I'll say, like I mentioned earlier, you're only going to do the exercises that you enjoy. So it's really important to, if you tried something and you're like, I don't like this, I'm not a fan of exercising, and if you're younger and you're playing sports and you're like, I'm just not good at this, I'm not an athlete, don't cut yourself short. I think you should just kind of branch out there and find something that you do enjoy, because everyone has something that they're going to like. But there's a lot of options, so you might have to just step out of your comfort zone a little bit. And with that, having a positive energy while you're doing it and try not to be down on yourself is huge. That positive energy, I know you mentioned that. I have a big smile on my face. I try to just let that, bounce off of my clients as well. Try to be the best part of their day. But I am currently taking new clients for personal training and strength and conditioning coaching. I do one-on-one personal training and small group training. So if you want to be the best you can be and try something new or get back into it, then definitely call me, reach out to me, contact me on my website or Instagram or Facebook.
Perfect. Well, there you have it, folks. If you're looking to get back into shape, want to see a great smile with Bridgett, go to Coaching by Bridgett, Bridgett Finn on the American Grown podcast and the Colortech Creative Solutions studios. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
If you want to see more American Grown content, follow along on Facebook and Instagram. username American Grown Podcast. If you received any value, please share this episode with friends, family, and coworkers. And lastly, subscribe and leave a review.
If you'd like to be a featured guest on the podcast, please direct message or email Austin at americangrownpod@gmail.com.